You ever read a message so cruel it burns itself into your memory forever? Mine came at 9:37 p.m. on a Wednesday. It was from my mother. We have all agreed you are no longer part of this family. Do not come to any gatherings. I stared at my phone thinking maybe it was a joke. It was not. Within minutes, my brother Tyler unfriended me on Facebook. My sister Nicole blocked my number. My aunt, who used to call every Sunday, sent a text that said, "You brought this on yourself." And just like that, I was erased. The funny part? I had not done anything wrong. At least not what they believed. They were the ones with secrets. I just happened to find them. It started a few weeks earlier. My father had been sick, heart failure, they said, and I had moved back home to help him recover. The house felt different, darker, like everyone was whispering behind closed doors. Mom would hush the conversation whenever I walked in. I noticed the bills piling up on the table. My dad's pension was missing thousands. When I asked Mom, she said, "It is being handled. Do not worry." But I did worry, so I started digging. Dad's medical account had been drained, almost $50,000 gone, withdrawn in small chunks over the course of 6 months. The transactions led to an account under my brother's name, Tyler's. The same brother who drove a brand new truck last Christmas, but swore he had been struggling to pay rent. I printed the statements, confronted Mom, and everything exploded. She did not even try to deny it. Instead, she said, "He needed it more than your father did. Tyler has kids. Your father has already lived his life." Those words, "already lived his life," cut through me like glass. I shouted. She slapped me. Dad, weak in his chair, begged us to stop. After that night, I packed my bags and left. I thought I was doing the right thing, telling the truth. But in our family, truth was poison. A week later, that text came, and I realized what they had done. They made me the villain. They told everyone I had stolen from Dad, that I had threatened them, that I was unstable. For a while, I almost believed them. Isolation does that to you. It bends reality until you doubt yourself. I stayed quiet for months. Then one night, I got a voicemail from Nicole. Her voice was shaking. "Dad fell again. Mom says you are not allowed at the hospital. She said you might cause a scene." I drove there anyway. The nurse stopped me at the front desk. "Family only," she said. "I am his daughter," I replied. She glanced at the chart. "According to this file, you are not listed." I did not even know that was possible, to be erased from your own father's hospital records. I stood there for 5 minutes before leaving, numb. 2 days later, he died. I did not get to say goodbye. No funeral invitation. No mention in the obituary. My father's name appeared beside everyone else's, except mine. That night, I promised myself one thing. I would make them remember me. I started with Tyler. I knew his weaknesses, his gambling habit, his fake business loans, the charity he was running through Dad's pension account. I created a fake email pretending to be an investor. I offered him a deal too good to resist, $20,000 up front if he sent over his financial records for verification. He sent everything. It was enough to ruin him. I forwarded those files anonymously to the IRS and his employer. Within a month, his accounts were frozen. His company cut him loose. Mom tried to blame the government, saying it was unfair. I laughed for the first time in months. But revenge never stops cleanly. It spreads like ink. I wanted to stop there, but I could not. Next was Nicole. She had always been Mom's favorite. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect life. She was the one who leaked my private therapy notes to the rest of the family years ago, calling me dramatic and attention-seeking. I still had her old college laptop. She left it behind one summer, and I'd kept it out of habit. When I powered it on, I found emails, hundreds of them, between her and her married boss. Attachments, photos, plans. I sent them to his wife and to HR. She lost her job within 2 days. Then came the call from Mom. "You did this," she hissed. "You think you are punishing us, but you are destroying yourself." I almost agreed with her. But then I remembered that text. "You are no longer part of this family." She destroyed me first. The next week, I drove to my hometown for the first time since Dad's death. The house looked smaller. I parked across the street and watched. Mom water her plants like nothing had happened. Tyler's truck was gone. Nicole's car was missing. Just her, calm, smiling, pretending. I waited until nightfall. Then I left a small package on her porch. No name, no note. Inside was a copy of every bank record, every stolen transaction, and a photo of Dad's medical bill marked unpaid. I taped one of his old cufflinks to the envelope, the same one she gave to Tyler to pawn. The next morning, I got 14 missed calls. Then silence. Weeks went by. Tyler filed for bankruptcy. Nicole moved to another state. Mom sold the house and disappeared. I thought I would feel relief. I did not. Just emptiness, like I had cut out a tumor and realized it was the only thing keeping me alive. One night, I went through Dad's old boxes, searching for something, maybe closure. At the bottom of one, I found a letter addressed to me. It was dated 3 days before he died. My sweet girl, I know what happened. I know what your mother and siblings have done. Please do not hate them forever. Sometimes love blinds people into cruelty. You are stronger than all of us. I am proud of you. Love, Dad. I read that line over and over until the paper blurred with tears. And that was the moment I realized my revenge had already cost me everything worth saving. Now, every Thanksgiving, I cook one small meal for myself. No family, no laughter, no noise, just silence. Sometimes I stare at my phone, half expecting a text from Mom saying I'll come home. But I know it will never come. I got what I wanted, justice, revenge, payback. But if you ask me whether it was worth it, I would say no, because the night I made them remember me was the night I truly became one of them. After my father's letter, I thought maybe that would be the end. Maybe I could bury everything, his pain, their betrayal, my revenge, and finally rest. But closure is a lie. The mind keeps replaying the moments you wish you could forget. And every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mother's face the night she told me. I wasn't part of the family anymore. Calm, cold, certain. Months passed. I tried to start over. I moved to another town, changed my number, deleted social media. I even started a small business designing handmade jewelry, something Dad always said I should do. For a while it worked. People smiled at me again. They didn't know the kind of person I used to be, or maybe still was. But peace never lasts long when guilt is still breathing inside you. One evening, as I closed up shop, I saw a black SUV parked across the street. The engine was off, but someone was inside, watching. My stomach tightened. When I stepped toward it, the headlights blinked once. Then the car drove away. That night, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. It said, "We know what you did to your family." No name. No signature. Just that line. I deleted it, but the next morning another one came. "Your father's death wasn't what you think." My hands went cold. I stared at those words for hours, rereading them like maybe they'd change. When I finally replied, the message bounced back. Account deleted. I tried to convince myself it was spam, some cruel prank. But then, 3 days later, a man showed up at my store asking for custom work. He said his name was Mark, mid-40s, nice suit. A smile that didn't reach his eyes. He said he wanted a necklace made with a photo pendant. When he handed me the picture, my heart stopped. It was my father. I froze. He saw it. "You do beautiful work," he said, his tone slow, deliberate. "Your father would be proud of you." I could barely speak. "Do I know you?" He smiled again. "In a way, yes." Then he turned and left, leaving the photo on the counter. That night, I called Nicole's old number. It went straight to voicemail, then Tyler's. Disconnected. Finally, I called Mom. She answered. Her voice was rough, tired. "What do you want?" "Who is Mark?" I asked. Silence, then the click of her exhale. "You shouldn't have come back into this." "What does that mean?" "You think your father just died? You think it was natural?" "You were not there, you don't know." I felt the room spin. "Are you saying—" But she hung up. That night I couldn't sleep. I searched through my dad's old medical reports. One note stood out, an irregularity in his medication dosage. Something the nurse flagged but never followed up on. The next day, I drove back to my old hometown and visited the hospital. The nurse was still there, Maria. She recognized me immediately. "Oh my God, you're Alan's daughter." I nodded. "I need to know what happened the week he died." Her eyes softened. "I can't share details, you know that." "Please," I said, and for once, the desperation in my voice wasn't for revenge. It was for truth. She hesitated, then lowered her voice. "The day before he died, your brother came in with your mother. They said there was a change in his prescription, but the doctor never approved it." My throat closed up. "What kind of change?" "A double dose of morphine." I just stood there. My mother, Maria reached out to me. I don't know if it was intentional, But your father's body couldn't handle it. He was already weak. I walked out of that hospital feeling like the ground had disappeared under me. The air felt too heavy to breathe. For weeks I couldn't eat, couldn't think. My own family might have killed my father, and I'd spent all that time blaming myself for not being there. Then one evening, another email came. This one had an attachment, a video. It was security footage from the hospital room. My mother, Tyler, and Nicole were all there. My father was asleep. Mom stood over his bed, adjusting the IV line while Tyler watched. The timestamp showed it was the night before he died. The video ended with Mom whispering something to Nicole. The audio was faint, but I could hear it when I turned the volume all the way up. No more suffering. He's better off this way. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My fingers trembled as I replayed it again and again, until my laptop screen went black. The next day, I called the police. They reopened the case, but it didn't go anywhere. Too much time had passed. Too little evidence. The footage was inadmissible because it was leaked anonymously. That was when I understood. Justice was never coming. Not legally, anyway. So I made a choice. One final act. I contacted Mark, the man who had come to my shop. I didn't know who he was, but I had a feeling he knew everything. He agreed to meet. A coffee shop, small, quiet. He sat across from me, slid a file across the table. Your mother hired me once, he said. She wanted to find you after you left. She said you were unstable, dangerous. I stared at him. And now? He smiled faintly. Now I work for myself. And I have something you might want. Inside the folder were copies of insurance papers. Life insurance in my father's name. Beneficiary, my mother. Amount, $600,000. She had cashed it 1 week after his death. I leaned back in my chair, numb. Why are you showing me this? He looked at me, his eyes cold and calm. Because I don't like liars. And I think your family deserves to know what loss really feels like. I didn't ask what he meant. I already knew. That night, Mom's house caught fire. The news called it an accident. Faulty wiring, maybe candles left burning. She survived, but barely. 3rd-degree burns, hospitalized. Tyler disappeared the same week. The police found his truck near the river 2 towns over. No body. Nicole posted a video online, crying, saying someone was following her. 2 days later, her account was deleted. I didn't ask Mark if he did it. He never called again. I moved one last time, changed my name, my address, everything. I thought maybe I'd escaped the curse of my bloodline. But one night, while unpacking boxes, I found something that wasn't mine. A small envelope tucked between my clothes, no return address. Inside was a single photo. It was me, standing outside the hospital on the day. I spoke to Maria. The photo had been taken from across the street. On the back, in neat handwriting, it said, "You are your mother's daughter after all." My heart stopped. Since then, I've been waiting for another message. Another car parked outside. Another ghost from that life I thought I'd buried. Sometimes, late at night, I think about Dad's letter. He asked me not to hate them. He said love blinds people into cruelty. Maybe that's true. Maybe love blinded me too. Because when I think about everything that happened, about Tyler, about Nicole, about Mom, I don't feel regret anymore. I don't even feel fear. I just feel quiet. Maybe that's what revenge really is. Not satisfaction, not peace, just silence. And in that silence, sometimes, I still hear my father's voice whispering, "You are stronger than all of us." He was wrong. I wasn't stronger. I just learned how to live without a soul.